Da 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 da. Boom boom. Da 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 da. Boom boom. Da 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 da. All right, that's right. Greetings, fellow Armchair Imagineers. Tiki here, and welcome to the show that comes with guaranteed creativity and a forecast of inspiration. It's time to grab our umbrellas and head to the dry erase board for some Ridestormin. That's right, folks. We might be having some technical difficulties with Dragon, unfortunately, and I know for a fact that Dragon is not going to be happy about me going on air without him. I apologize, but we need to get the show on the road because I've been advertising the heck out of it, and I don't want to keep people waiting. Although, granted, I will admit partly it's my fault because I sent Dragon the wrong link at first. Anywho, we have ThemeParkPriest who says it's going to be epic. That's right. This episode is brought to you by ThemeParkPriest, who suggested this topic, and the topic is to design a new land for Universal's epic universe. Now, as always for these requests, we kind of take the basic framework of the requests and we kind of we mold them to make it a suitable podcast topic and framework. So within this particular request, what I have done is I have said, you know what, with Harry Potter, for a variety of reasons, the biggest one that I want to get into and that I'm comfortable getting into right now is just the fact that I feel like Harry Potter is oversaturated as it is. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is not a very great franchise to begin with. You know, and the rumor is that they're going to do a Fantastic Beasts land, and obviously the stuff with J.K. Rowling. I mean, it's like, I don't want to get political on the channel, but obviously I do not support her in that sense at all whatsoever. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but trust me, I could. So with that in mind, my prompt that I am calling for right now is to have a replacement for the Harry Potter extension of Epic Universe, the Harry Potter lands. So that means that the lands that will still be involved in this hypothetical Epic Universe are going to be... Yes, Dragon, I'm sorry. This is a very heavily advertised... This is a very heavily advertised thing. Dragon, take your time, do your thing, but I have to go on air. I'm sorry. There's people waiting. I didn't want to keep them waiting. I didn't know how long you were going to be. So I'm terribly sorry, Dragon. Anyways, folks. So, yeah. I'm going to try to drag this out a little bit because Dragon is having technical difficulties. But suffice to say, the other lands that will be included will be the Universal Monsters, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragons, and oh god, am I missing one? I feel like I'm missing one. I don't know. I'm sorry, folks. This isn't a great introduction right now. I am going to be doing Don Bluth. Dragon is going to be doing Back to the Future. Before we get to that, I'm just going to go ahead and sort of admittedly spin the wheels on it because I want Dragon to be here for all my pitches. So I am going to go ahead and first of all, just thank you guys because I think that this Ridestorming, it took an episode or two to get off the ground, but I really feel like it's coming into its own. I'm happy with the progress that we've been making on it. I want to give a big shout out to Jacob Weil for the thumbnails. And honestly, it's completely my fault. I honestly feel like I neglect Jacob sometimes with just how good of a job he does. I really feel like his visual style should be... his name should be first and foremost in the channel, like front and center. I really feel like I need to be giving him more credit than I am for the contributions that he does for us with these thumbnails. Because honestly, as soon as I saw the Universal Globe with the Ridestormin on it, I was just like, oh God, this is fantastic work. Theme Park Priest says, I'm fine with getting rid of Fantastic Beasts. I figured you would be. I honestly don't know a single person in the Universal theme park fandom who's like clamoring, like, give me another Potterland, man. 2 isn't enough. I mean, I'm sure those people exist, but I don't know. I just figure we have enough Potter between the 2 parks at this point. Let's let some other original ideas reign in. So let's see. So yeah, as far as this being a success, I do want to touch bases with the poll really quick. And again, like I said, this is kind of me dragging things out. I am going to have to get to the pitch sooner rather than later. I will fill Dragon in on the details when he gets here, hopefully. But I do want to address the polls because I do think the polls have been a success so far. And honestly, I would be posting the polls on the channel, or not on the channel, but on the boards, on the WDW Magic Imagineering boards, if not for the fact that, like, I really don't want to make a new thread every week and, you know, have all that self-promotion going around on the boards. So I strongly encourage you guys, because the poll does come up every week on the channel. I'm going to start linking the poll on the boards. I strongly encourage you to go and to vote on said poll, and also to, you know, by all means, I'm always looking for requests. So I want to go ahead and recap all of the ideas that we have up on the board right now, and these are going to be the 5 options for the next episode. And once I get through that, I'm basically going to have no choice but to start. I don't know what it is with Dragon and these Ridestormins where he just has a lot of technical difficulties. One second, folks. Okay, so let's just get into it really quick. Let's just get into the poll options, because these are going to be the poll options. By all means, anyone watching right now, you can suggest a topic, and they will be considered for the next poll after this week's poll. But for right now, we have the Avengers e-ticket, which honestly has been on the poll from the get-go, and I'm kind of surprised has not actually had a victory yet. It's always up there. It's always one of the top 2 or 3. But yeah, it's never actually, you know, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Rise of the Guardians Dark Ride. That's an interesting one. That's for sure an interesting one. And I don't know how much traction that's going to get, and I could see that one being knocked off of the poll for another suggestion sometime soon. But I'm going to give it at least one more week, and, you know, we'll get to it eventually. Let's see. And then we have Luca attraction for Epcot's Italy Pavilion, which is honestly Dragon and I's pet project. That has also been there since the beginning. I totally get why it hasn't won yet, but I would like it to win. And then honestly, the big dark horse for this last week was Breaking Bad Better Call Saul themed land, which ran away with 27% of the vote compared to the new land for Epic Universe, which had 40% of the vote. Guys, that's honestly super impressive for something as niche as Breaking Bad Better Call Saul. And I am getting the feeling that we're going to probably get to that one sooner rather than later. I know I have people on my channel who are subscribed for our Better Call Saul recaps. Of course, the last season of Better Call Saul is gearing up. So those are the 4 returning ones. And then your new challenger that approaches is going to be build a new DreamWorks theme park. Now, this is just going to be completely, like, I don't think I'm going to attach it to a resort or anything. And if it does get turned into an episode, I'm going to have Dragon and I just collaborate on the one park. It won't be us creating 2 different parks. Anyways, okay. So I guess let me just start by laying out my overall concept before I get into details, because again, I'm really trying to drag out details here with the situation with Dragon. So my area, my Don Bluth area, is going to basically be kind of like a callback to the way that we design stuff like Fantasyland, Adventureland, etc., Tomorrowland, where it's going to be broadly a lot of different IPs within the same sort of, okay, Dragon's listening. Good. Okay, good. That makes me feel better. All right, so it's going to be a collection of all different Don Bluth IPs within the same setting. Now, the setting is going to be, what's the most famous setting in The Land Before Time? The Great Valley. So I'm going to be calling it Bluth Valley. But with that in mind, with Bluth Valley, it's going to be the type of land where the rock work is going to gradually transition. So while you're in this land, you are going to have rock work on either side of you. And it's going to be gradually transitioning from kind of like the peaceful greens of the Great Valley setup, which is kind of like the east side of the land. You come in from the east, you're in the Great Valley. The big Land Before Time e-ticket, which I'll be getting to shortly, is going to be right there. And then as you transition further on into the land, there is going to be a volcano set piece within the Land Before Time e-ticket. That volcano is, of course, going to be part of the rock work. It's not going to be very prominent. It's not going to be like a huge epic weenie or anything. It's mostly going to be used as a transitional point into the more dark and jagged parts of the rock work. And then on the west side of Bluth Valley, you've got kind of some of the darker stuff. So you've got the Carface Casino, which is kind of like in its own little subland, which is kind of like a mini weird sort of deserty Las Vegas area. And in that area, we've got both Carface Casino and the Rockadoodle Review. And we'll get to both of those soon. And then on the other side, on the west side, so this is like the left side of the west side. I'm saying side a lot. On the other side, we have the other big ride. I would call this a D-ticket thrill ride, which is simply the Dragon's Lair drop. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through my Land Before Time attraction first and foremost. My Land Before Time attraction is going to be called the Land Before Time, Big Water Adventure. And here's the gimmick with my Land Before Time attraction. I'm not just going to base this on the original movie. I love the original movie. I love the original movie to death. It's honestly one of my all-time favorite animated movies, Disney or otherwise. And as far as the sequels to The Land Before Time go, they are incredibly hit or miss. I haven't watched a big majority of them, but what I have watched over and over and over and over again, because I'm a habitual viewer and this YouTuber puts out damn good content, is Jenny Nicholson's video where she ranks all the Land Before Time movies. And one of the things that the Jenny Nicholson video taught me is that the Land Before Time series has some earworms. Like, I'm sure a lot of the songs in the series are filler and superfluous and sugary and very childish. But yeah, another Dinosaur River Raft ride, ThemeParkPriest. Exactly. Totally. I mean, no joke. Big Water was honestly just too good to pass up. I wanted to use another ride system, but you have Big Water right there. So yeah, I do think that the Land Before Time sequels, outside of Chomper, who is just a character who's great and he like really fits into the original gang like a freaking glove. I love Chomper, and Chomper is going to be a focal point of the ride as well. I think the legacy of the sequels does come down to some of the songs. I think some of the songs kind of like transcend how good or bad some of the sequels are. So with that in mind, this attraction is going to be a musical, and it's going to use a couple iconic elements from the original Land Before Time movie, but it's honestly going to more lean into the sequel side of things, which I think is a risk on my part, because of course there is a considerable amount of the fan base who basically just thinks that the sequels just don't exist or just killed the franchise. But you know what? I honestly think, sure, the sequels are oversaturated, but I do think they have their place, and dinosaurs are just one of those evergreen things with kids that are always going to be popular. So I get why the franchise has lasted as long as it has. And on the note of ThemeParkPriest saying another Dinosaur River Raft ride, my defense of this is that I absolutely want this to be the kid-friendly, family-friendly version of Jurassic Park River Adventure. That's absolutely what I'm aiming for. I think Jurassic Park River Adventure is one of the touchstones of all of Universal Studios creative. Like it's still, I would say that ride is as iconic as a lot of Disney attractions, just as far as how it's structured. And like there's not going to be any big major like scare moments in this, but I do really want to evoke kind of just like the sense of playful adventure that Land Before Time evokes. So with that in mind, we're going to be going through the queue, and the queue is very outdoorsy, and it's kind of inspired by Flight of Passage, especially the outdoor side of Flight of Passage, where you're basically just kind of going on a hilly terrain. You're going through the Great Valley. You're seeing stuff like the Watering Hole. Like you go through a forest of tree stars. We'll get to the tree stars later with some dining options. And then as you go into a cave, you start to hear some murmuring, some off camera, if you will, whispers from the Gang of Five, is the fans call the Land Before Time characters. Littlefoot, Petrie, Sarah, Ducky, Spike's there too, but obviously you don't really hear Spike. And they're all whispering to themselves like, do we really want to go on the big water? The big water's scary. And honestly, I haven't even seen the damn big water movie, so I am just basing the big water thing on the Land Before Time gang is on an adventure. They need your help. They need to approach the big water to get somewhere, to do some sort of goal. I haven't really ironed out those details quite yet, but alas, essentially you board the rafts, which are going to be smaller scale river rapids rafts. I want to emphasize that. They're probably going to sit maybe 6 people at the most, as opposed to like 12 people that you can sit on bigger river rapids. And that's because these rafts aren't really meant for rapids. There's not really going to be many rapids parts. The big rapids part does happen right at the beginning. It's probably the most thrilling section of the whole ride. It is the big water section. It's going to be an indoors transitional tunnel into essentially there's going to be an outdoors area for a large part of this attraction that's going to be kind of secluded from the rest of the park, a la Jurassic Park River Adventure. But this opening scene is going to be the big water scene. So you see all the main dinosaur kids, and they're singing big, 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 big water. We're talking big, 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 big water. Yeah. All right, and then after that, you cascade and careen into a forest where you see Chomper, everybody's favorite Land Before Time character, little baby T-Rex Chomper. And he is having a grand old time. He's singing a song called Friends for Dinner. And of course, the comedy of this song is that, he's a T-Rex. So when he's singing it, you're like, oh, is he having friends over for dinner? Or is he literally having the friends for dinner? Ooh, but he's an adorable little T-Rex. So it's like, he's not going to hurt anyone. It's adorable. So then you careen into a cave, and you're trapped in a cave. But then, look out, Reba McEntire Dino is here to save you. I am not making this up. And we go into a disco ball infused rhythm and blues number called Look for the Light. This is Reba McEntire's big song from I don't even remember what Land Before Time movie it is. That just goes to show you that I'm kind of just like treating this attraction as a greatest hits Land Before Time ride without much continuity, and I'm honestly fine with that. So Reba McEntire's just serenading you with this song, and then we hear it. We hear the iconic notes. We hear the Patrick Stewart-like vocal delivery. When I wake up, what's the first thing I do? Eggs. Is look around for something to chew. Exactly. Yes, it is the iconic Eggs song from The Land Before Time 2. And speaking of The Land Before Time 2, we cascade out of the cave into the Great Valley area. This is kind of like the big open air area. And we see the first actual animatronics of the gang. So Littlefoot, Petrie, Ducky, Spike, Sarah, as well as Chomper. Chomper's there too, because everybody loves Chomper. And they're singing the song, "You're a family and you're one of us now. You're a family and you're one of us now." Also from Land Before Time 2. Then we bend the corner and egads, there's a scary sharp tooth. But have no fear, because Sarah and Littlefoot are up on a higher ledge. And the Jenny Nicholson video pointing this out, that happens in almost literally every Land Before Time movie. The sharp tooth is swiftly defeated by pushing a rock onto its head, a boulder, if you will. So it would be essentially the same kind of technology as the crashing Jeep from River Adventure, except instead of crashing onto us, the boulder would crash onto the sharp tooth. So it'd be scary for like a second, but then we would quickly see like, oh, we're fine. The rock's going to come down on the sharp tooth. We're fine. Then we enter a rather emotional moment where we see Littlefoot alone on a hillside, and the Diana Ross song, "If We Hold On Together," is playing. And we also see like just a few Brontosaurus in the background, kind of like that majestic sort of welcome to Jurassic Park kind of shot. We see kind of like a canvas of the Great Valley as Littlefoot is looking out onto the valley, thinking of his mother. But alas, all is right in the world. Littlefoot may have lost his mother, but he has his friends, and it's a peaceful valley. And everybody's having a good time now. And that's how we end out. We end out on the song. We end out on just a big old celebration. We see rather large scale grandma and grandpa Brontosaurus animatronics and the song. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta sing it because it is an earworm and it's just tearing at me. I gotta sing it. Come on and let's go and run around and around. What a beautiful feeling. I finally found my peaceful valley. Everybody's having a good time now. All right, yeah, peaceful valley. That's how the ride ends. All right, and that is the Land Before Time Big Water Adventure. Kind of, like I said, kind of a best of. It's almost like a Land Before Time sing-along, if you will. I just kind of literally just took some of the best songs from the franchise, mashed them together, but I think it works. I honestly think it works. Also, in the Great Valley area, you have the Tree Star, which is a quick service restaurant located inside the roots of a giant tree, kind of tree of lifestyle, I'm going to admit. And it serves a variety of different Tree Star themed plant-based options. So what this means is you're going to have a big old slice of lettuce, and on this really big slice of lettuce, you're going to have different kind of combinations of ingredients. So it's going to be kind of like a unique, creative take on a salad where it uses one very large piece of lettuce as the base, and then you can do all kinds of stuff with that. I think that would be a very big hit with the vegan crowd, and also just in general. I think it'd be tasty. And then you also have big water blizzards, and I just have written down in my note, they're Land Before Time themed frozen drinks. And that's all you really need to know about that. I don't know. I'm sure they are earworms if you know the songs. Yeah, they are ThemeParkPriest. They are. Especially the ones from Land Before Time 2, which I am familiar with, because all the other ones I'm just kind of familiar with through the Jenny Nicholson video. But with Land Before Time 2, I am definitely, like, I grew up with that movie. So songs like Peaceful Valley, You're a Family and You're One of Us Now, and then, of course, Eggs. Eggs is honestly like the high watermark of art in the Land Before Time franchise. I am not even lying about that. It is the most amazing piece of media. Okay, so then on the west side of the park, we have the Dragon's Lair side. As I said, with the volcano, we kind of have a little transition into more dark, more foreboding rock work. The greens of the Great Valley make way for brown and sharp briar patches. Literally just bushes of thorns. And we have Dragon, Dragon, I'm terribly sorry. It says you'll need to connect the mic cam before you can add them to the stream. It seems like there's still something going on. All right. Well, that was, hopefully we can get him in. Hopefully. I'm hoping, because I'm running out of time for my own pitch. Okay, so yeah, you can imagine the Dragon's Lair side. Basically, I have 3 different sublands. I have Land Before Time. I have Dragon's Lair, which is kind of like its own thing. It's just kind of like off in a corner. And then I also have the casino kind of Vegas section. So let's talk Dragon's Lair. This is going to be a pretty simple ride. Chat up the audience. I'm dying here. Dragon, I'm trying. I'm basically going through my pitch, and hopefully by the time I get through my pitch, he'll come on. Hopefully. Okay, so yeah, this ride is essentially, it's kind of Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout meets Star Tours in a way, although it's not really as elaborate as either of them. So essentially what you're doing is it's kind of like a randomized drop sequence, and the doors of the drop tower elevator will open a few times. Dragon isn't on for Dragon's Lair. Maybe that's what's bothering him. The doors of the elevator will open a few times, and you'll see screens, and each time the door of the elevator opens, and on the screen, you will see a different death animation for our hero, Dirk the Daring. So he could dissolve in a pool of acid. He could be eaten by a giant creature. He could have a boulder fall on him. And I feel like the death animation is probably like one of the big iconic trademark parts of Dragon's Lair as a series. And of course, the fact that it is an infamously hard series as well. So with that in mind, yeah, I do think that it'd be a lot of fun. It'd be great fun to have a ride where you're essentially just playing a game of Dragon's Lair, and like everyone else, you are failing at it. And there's no actual game element to this, of course. But, as far as just like, as you're going up and down the drop tower, it's basically kind of telling the story of Dirk the Daring just being absolutely incompetent at his job of saving Daphne the Princess. And like I said, just each time the elevator door opens, it's another just terrible, terrible fate that awaits Dirk the Daring. Folks, I'm sorry. I've been talking for literally a half an hour. I don't want to break up the rhythm of this podcast at all, but I need to take a drink of water. Okay, I'm please forgive me. Please forgive me, sir. Okay. So yeah, that is basically Dragon's Lair. Like I said, it's in its own little corner. I would say as far as size goes, it would probably be about half the size of Tower of Terror. Water for the host, or me. No, it's not a Bud Zero. Theme Park Priest, I can assure you, I don't drink. I might partake in other things that are legal in the state of California, but I do not drink. It's not my thing. Again, other things that are legal in the state of California are my thing, but not drinking. Anyways. So yeah, Dragon's Lair in its own kind of area. Like I said, the whole thing would kind of be surrounded by thorns. The castle would very much be kind of like that classic kind of ominous, dark, gothic castle with sort of pointy spires. I would say the whole thing from top to bottom would be about 120 feet. with the actual drop tower itself in the tower being maybe about 100 feet, so about 10 stories tall, which would make it relatively on the short side for a drop tower. But I feel like you got to make this thing a bit self-contained. It's not supposed to be the main draw of Bluth Valley. It is supposed to be a supplemental thrill ride to the main draw, which is Big Water Adventure. And so, yeah. Okay, I'm going to check on Dragon again. Chat up the audience. I'm dying here. So I'm just going to say I'm almost done with my part. Are you close to making any kind of progress? All right. This is like really a shame because I really wanted to hear what Dragon had to say about Back to the Future. I honestly think it's a very intriguing idea to kind of like resurrect an old ride and not just do a modern Back to the Future, which I think is a great idea, but also do a full land out of Back to the Future. I'm very curious what Dragon does have up his sleeve about it. Whether or not he does get to regale us with that, we'll have to wait and see. It's a very unfortunate situation. I'm kind of trying to make the best of it. Okay, but then we have on the other side of the west end of Bluth Valley, we have the casino side of things, where the briar patches and dark, scraggly rocks make way for sand dunes and desert and cactuses. So you can kind of tell how throughout Bluth Valley, I'm very much making an exaggerated kind of point of transition within all this different rock work where it all flows together, but it also all kind of like, is divided into its own sort of subsections. I feel like it's kind of the best of both worlds is in regards to having a land with multiple different IPs, but also having a land that like visually and kinetically very much flows together. So I don't really have a ton of ideas for either of these two things, I will admit, which makes it a little problematic with our situation with Dragon. But my main pitch for the All Dogs Go to Heaven attraction, or rather, this is going to be the main dining. No, I'm sorry. So Carface, the Carface Casino is going to be the main shop. And this is going to be where you're going to be able to pick up all your Bluth swag, all your plushes, all your t-shirts with all your favorite obscure Bluth characters. One of the hot sellers in this shop is a t-shirt that just has all of the characters that Dom DeLuise has voiced in Don Bluth movies. I think that's a clever touch. And then you're also going to have a casino, quote unquote, area, which is basically an arcade. There's going to be a Carface animatronic. That Carface is the villain from All Dogs Go to Heaven, who comes out every so often and greets the guests. Every so often, Charlie will appear on a balcony, Charlie being the main character voiced by Burt Reynolds in All Dogs Go to Heaven, and he will serenade us with a rendition of "You can't keep a good dog down. No, you can't keep a good dog down." And yeah, it'll be a very lively, very active casino area and shopping space that will very much play to kind of the kinetic energy of the universe and of the themes. And finally, we have the Rockadoodle review. And all I can say about this is a really freaking stupid idea, but I think that Rockadoodle is one of my guilty pleasures. I will say, as far as bad movies go, I absolutely think that it is a so bad it's good kind of movie for Don Bluth. I think it's a lot more watchable as far as Don Bluth's catalog goes than something like All Dogs Go to Heaven, or I'm sorry, not All Dogs Go to Heaven. Something like Pebble and the Penguin, or Thumbelina. I think those two movies are particularly bad, although Pebble and the Penguin has its moments with the Tim Curry villain, I will admit. But Rockadoodle, I just think is batshit. I mean, there's no other way I can describe it. It's a crazy movie. It's an acid trip of a movie. And one of the main focal points of Rockadoodle is this weird kind of Vegas nightclub that the main character Chanticleer the Rooster ends up at, where he becomes kind of like an Elvis rooster. And Dragon is in. He's in. Dragon, what good timing.
Sure.
All right. ThemeParkPriest says, "Oh boy, Rockadoodle. I was a bit scared of the bad guys." Yeah, there's that one moment where the owl actually threatens the live action little kid, which I thought was particularly threatening. So yeah, the Rockadoodle review, it's going to be like basically just an animatronic musical showpiece for Chanticleer the Rooster doing his Elvis thing. I honestly don't even really care about what the food is, just kind of like your classic sort of steakhouse, like nice casino restaurant affair, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, Dragon, how much of Blue Valley were you able to listen to? I know obviously you've been having technical difficulties.
Oh, the majority. I admit I dodged out a little bit after the Chomper Love Fest, but I kind of
Chomper.
Yeah, so a little bit of when you're doing like a little Chomper song thing. That's where I kind of lost you a little bit, but I got the majority of
it. But Dragon, who doesn't love Chomper? Seriously,
right?
I'm seriously beaming, right? I'm literally right now, like as we speak, I'm doing like the turning red anime eyes thing over Chomper.
Basically, as if Chompers were a box of kittens.
Chomper is a box of kittens. He's more adorable than a box of kittens. Anyways,
none says adorable than something that could eat you.
He's a baby, though. He's not going to eat anybody yet. All right. So, Dragon, any feedback? I know you kind of dipped out on some of the Land Before Time stuff, but what do you think in general of the idea of having it essentially be like a greatest hits of some of the sequel songs? Because I know that's a little bit of a risky route.
Well, I mean, I think just the broad concept of just taking the expanding basically kind of like the Fievel Goes West sort of playground you have at Universal, and kind of doing like a full kind of Bluth land proper. That sounds like that's a really great concept. And I mean, I'm not fully feeling the sequel song thing, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
Do you like the overall layout of my land with the rock work that kind of transitions into the different areas? I think that worked out.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Cool. And any thoughts on the Dragon's Lair drop tower?
It sounds the many deaths being homage sounded good.
Okay. All right, right on. All right, Dragon, I'm honestly so relieved that you're here, man. I was like, oh God, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna have to do a part 2 to this? I don't know. So, Dragon, by all means, I'm very excited. Regale us. Give us all the details on Hill Valley. First of all, one thing I want to know, I like, if you don't have a definitive name, don't feel pressure, but do you have, like, is it Hill Valley? Is it Hill Valley plus a year? What name do you think you're going with?
Basically, Hill Valley Courthouse Square.
Okay, that's fair. Cool.
That's what it is.
All right, so regale us, Dragon.
All right, so with my land of choice in this epic universe, basically my logic was, let's bring back to the Future. Universal's biggest weakness has always been paving over its history of film and blockbusters to compete with Disney, trying to reinvent the wheel all the time.
Spielberg is going to chain himself to E.T. if it comes to that.
That's something I want to see. Like, there's a movie for you. Spielberg determined he'll just literally chain him, like the climax of the bulldozers coming in and he ain't budging. You'll have to kill this paragon of cinema before you tear down.
Steven, it's right here in the middle of Kid Zone. Everybody hates Kid Zone. You're gonna have to build around it.
Yep. Anyway, so of course, this line of decision making for Universal, again, the analogy I've always used, when you go to Universal, you go to the park, you get to like the parking levels, and you have like all these little, the icons. Like,
Yeah.
look,
Oh
Jurassic.
man, it hurts. It hurts
Jurassic.
every time.
Absolutely, it does. Like the easiest way to remember where the car is, and it's always like a little fond memory of like this is what
It's
Universal
always something we
stands
can't
for.
do.
Yes. So anyway, it's been a lot of
Unless you park in the Jurassic lot.
Yes. So yeah, it's been a lot of heartbreak. So the idea is let's fix that. Let's just fix it. You want to convince people to shell out more money for a third park essentially. Give them a draw plus more. Okay. The Universal Monsters, I believe, is something they've committed to. They are doing a classic Universal Monsters section of this epic universe.
Yes, that's absolutely on the table for sure.
So that's something they are doing, which that's a step in the right direction. Like, yes,
I think that's a very good idea for them, especially with how popular the Universal Monsters have been at Halloween Horror Nights recently.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
Like, they've been the draw of Halloween Horror Nights, not the modern stuff.
Yeah, so they're doing something like that, and they're doing like the How to Train Your Dragons thing. These are good moves. Now, again, just to kind of complete the circle here, just to bring it on home, let's undo the mistake that was axing Back to the Future, the ride, and then just kind of add to it and just kind of like make it kind of the ultimate experience. So, Hill Valley Courthouse Square basically has kind of like visualized as simplistically as you can kind of in the image before us here, where you have basically there, that's what it is. It's Courthouse Square right there with the greenery
pretty much, yeah.
and the courthouse. Now, here's what I'm pitching. So, again, Back to the Future of the ride, because basically, folks, I agonized over thinking, how the heck do I, even thinking beyond just the average motion simulator ride, which is obviously my specialty because of Back to the Future of the ride. It's like, how do you got to put people in the car? Anything you do is going to be less than Back to the Future of the ride. So it just kind of occurred to me, like, you know what? Let's not. Why reinvent the wheel on this? It was a mistake to get rid of in the first place. Let's just bring it back anyway. And what we'll do to spice it up is we will put it in the clock tower.
Okay.
So essentially, you have the base of the land. My main point of comparison in constructing this land was something like, okay, like Seuss Landing is a point of like what kind of goes into a land.
Right. So yeah.
I kind of started from
traction lineup.
Exactly. So I kind of started there to see, okay, how much is too much, how much is too little. So I kind of ended up something in the middle there. So basically, it's 3 attractions, a restaurant, and a store, just kind of some set dressing. So again, basically, you have the Clockhouse Square, which essentially where we get the McFly walk. When Marty kind of goes in with the imposing Sylvester music and he's looking around. You have Mr. Sandman playing, and just basically, so the idea is that no matter what decade you're in, the clock tower, let's just say in present day, whether that be technically 2015 or not, or beyond 2015 or not. The idea is now that time travel has been revealed, that Doc Brown has cracked the code on, and it's gone well for him. He's built the what is in the Back to the Future ride, the Institute of Future Technology. So basically, what you'd have
inside the clock tower.
Yes, that's the thing. So in the exterior, like the main exterior with the clock itself, the gargoyle looking lion things, and the pillars, like the front of the building is exactly the clock tower. Remember, but perhaps behind it is a little bit more of like kind of a spruced up, like basically the Back to the Future of the ride, kind of like metal and kind of like just basically everything behind and inside the clock tower is the building.
Okay.
So the idea is like
so essentially, like in universe, Doc is very much preserving the face of the clock tower, but everything behind the famous facade is like his playground.
Yeah, because they were always looking to get rid of the clock tower in Back to the Future anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
a
kind
big
of like
focal point of all the movies. Yeah.
I mean, certainly because of that, and just the fact that, again, like the whole point of the first movie is like save the clock tower. So Doc Brown ultimately he saved the clock tower. He found a use for it, and also again he made an actual historical landmark in every sense of the word.
Mm-hmm.
So again, so that's basically where we put Back to the Future of the ride. The only changes that would really be made to it is basically you HD the footage. You kind of basically it'd be kind of restored and remastered. Maybe a few of the things trimmed out and everything just kind of like for example, like some of the Biff gags were a little iffy in the pre-show kind of preamble. Maybe trim a little bit of that out, and what you put in its stay is add a little bit more Marty McFly into the attraction, add a little bit more reverence and just sentimentality.
How are you going to do that exactly?
Well, again, I'm saying it's like I'm not saying like you add like new footage or anything. What I'm saying is, but what I'm mainly saying is they have clips playing from the movies and they have stuff like Doc on
Oh,
the
okay. So
March.
just put more Marty clips. All right, that
I'm
makes
saying
sense.
more Marty clips, but framed around maybe some modern day Christopher Lloyd just recorded dialogue of him reminiscing about Marty McFly, perhaps
And of
even
course,
speaking.
Christopher Lloyd is still relevant and in the news. Did you? I'm sure. I assume you heard the news on him.
I did, yes.
Yes, yes, he's going to be in Mando season 3, so he's still out there, man. He's still kicking. He's still doing stuff.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the thing I'd like to coat the ride with, the only thing I could possibly add to the ride is just let's celebrate the fact that it's back, but in kind of like a bit of a subtle way where it's like, hey, we, this whole enterprise started because of the friendship I had with this kid and the adventures that we went on. So be kind of a little bit of like in the background, like instead of maybe a little less like Lacilia, as fun as it is, you keep some of it in there. Like
You're not suggesting that Marty's dead in this timeline, are you?
No, he's not dead. No.
I mean, obviously there's an issue, but
No. I'm just
well,
saying.
Like, from what you're describing, it almost sounds like Doc's memorializing him.
No, yeah, I'm saying you could also mention his family and stuff, but I'm just saying just add like kind of a sentimental layer just to the attraction itself, and Marty being kind of the biggest touchstone of something that is lacking from the ride.
Sure.
All right, so basically, you have you have that, just kind of a celebration of the return to the franchise and the whole 30 years enduring thing, and just how important Back to the Future was. So just a little bit of sentimentality in the pre-show stuff. Anywho. So again, that's your main attraction. Then off the side are two new attractions. So you have
now the main attraction is literally just the ride again.
Yeah, the main.
Well, so you're not even gonna like remaster it or anything?
Did you not listen to a thing I said? I said it was remastered and everything.
Okay, but it's gonna be like, but nothing like no new footage or anything.
No new footage. You just remastered.
I think honestly, remastered should be good enough. I mean,
yeah.
It's a pretty classic ride. I mean, if anything, like it's not necessarily the most modern film by any means, but it definitely has a ton of nostalgia and obviously a lot of kick-ass practical effects. So
exactly, man. Peyton Reed shot all that footage, man. What I do is I'd have
Peyton Reed?
You didn't know this? Yeah, he shot the whole ride.
I'm sure you told me when we talked about the ride, but
anyway, yes. So I don't know, maybe get him back. If there's anything additionally shot, it would be primarily again. It would be again like more so edited footage from the original stuff. Maybe I don't know. Maybe some exterior shots. Like for example, we have some really dated shots of like rudimentary 90s 3D scans of the building. Like we might update that a little bit.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so like textures and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. Any new footage we'd have would be like new pre-show stuff, just to kind of like just to be like the not specifically Doc Brown stuff, but just it's kind of stuff like around the ride, just kind of celebrating the new land as it were. Like it's like the Hill Valley Historical Society might report, and like the clock tower has been repurposed into the industry of future technology, something like that. Okay, so again, that's your main draw, which again is the big facade that is the clock tower. Now, next to it, you still have a DeLorean and only a far more secure and looked after DeLorean for people to have the photo op, and you'd have the time train. Now, the time train is pointing towards the next attraction.
Okay,
the next attraction is Coasting Through Time.
First of all, let me observe really quick that I like the placement of your time train. It kind of reminds me of how the Millennium Falcon is just parked right out in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the thing. So again, you have this, and to one side you have you have like the train, which is basically pointing towards the attraction that features the train, which is Coasting Through Time.
Okay, so tell us about this.
Okay, so this
is it a roller coaster because of the coasting?
Would you like me to tell you? Want to keep asking me questions?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, it is a roller coaster. It's the ELB, I believe, the Emmett Laverne Brown time train themed coaster, and basically it's the ride vehicle itself is the train from Back to the Future 3, the hover converted time train, and
it's scaled down, right?
Well, yes, Tiki, scale. How massive do you think this is? Yes. I'm saying, again, the idea is that you have, the gag being you have the actual scaled train as like a photo op, which points to the direction.
Sure.
Of the scaled down train, but still it's still impressive. You're getting on the time train that converts to hover. It's like
Yeah. I hear you.
Train, and the idea of this thing looks really. This would be the perfect ride to ride at night or in overcast weather, because it would the lights of the hover conversion with the vents and everything, and
Ooh, that's cool. That's cool.
so it would look really cool. And the idea is
the Jurassic World vehicles actually have really cool lighting on them as well. The Velocicoaster ones, I mean.
So it's pretty simple. Basically, you're flying around, basically built into the architecture surrounding it. You would
So it's mostly outdoors, I assume.
No, yeah, it's pretty much entirely outdoors.
Okay,
yeah. So the idea is
so kind of like this would be like the land's equivalent to Velocicoaster.
I mean, sure.
Or Incredible Hulk, which is something I know you're familiar with.
Whatever helps.
Okay.
So, point being, you're flying as you're kind of flying around in the air on this thing. You're kind of there are like kind of land masses, I guess, kind of built into like when you're kind of buzzing around them. That would be different periods in time.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So the idea is this is like for example, you start in the Old West and you would have like a little bit of the future in there, and then also you'd have a little bit of the future, maybe a little bit of like maybe Rome, for example, like the old kind of the Roman times, stuff like that. It'd be kind of an homage to the Back to the Future animated series as well. Kind of
right.
It's like and the
that animated series was underrated for my money.
It was, but it could have been a little better. Let's be honest. But
I'm just saying conceptually, it's fun to see the different time periods on a conceptual level. That's
of course, Biff Tannen being in every episode of different ancestors is priceless. So speaking of which, that is something I would have, where you'd have Tom F. Wilson modern day have audio, kind of like you'd hear like different Biffs from different times saying.
Oh God, that's great. Let me ask you this: any inversions? Like, what are you thinking as far as the intensity level goes?
Well, I'm saying I think it would speed up when you're about to travel through time. So if there's anything to be kind of a fixed speed, and then it would go really fast when you hear like the effect, when you go there.
All right, so it sounds like something. Sounds like more kind of like a launched family coaster, like something like Slinky Dog. Is that appropriate?
I mean, I suppose, yeah. It's just a little bit more
like
mid-airy,
Slinky
but
Dog or maybe Hagrid.
That sounds. I mean,
I know you're not as familiar with Hagrid, but
not in the least.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a family coaster, is what you're saying. You're picturing it more as a family coaster than like a thrill machine.
I mean, I guess I didn't really kind of set it. I mean, I guess so. I didn't really think of it in terms of like the family coaster of it all. But not trying to like make people lose their lunches.
Okay.
Okay. And the last attraction is not the best name, but just kind of a working title. Hoverboard Rides.
You're right.
Well, again, I just mainly pitched the concept. I didn't think of a fancy name.
All right.
The point being, this one would be it's kind of at its most simplest. It's just the question of how much we can actually how much money we can sink into this and how much we can do it upright. Because I mean, I think I'm trying to give people actual hoverboard rides, kind of a cross between a Segway, but hopefully a little bit more like an air hockey table, where you're actually like hovering, like basically do it like the alien saucer thing at the. Well, not the alien saucer,
like a stand-up version of alien swirling saucers.
Yeah, either like the swirling saucers or like Luigi's tires, essentially something like Luigi's tires.
Yeah,
basically. But again,
Luigi's tires might be easier to pull off because that's like a predetermined like pattern.
That's what I'm saying. So the idea is you would get on a hoverboard, which ideally would be as kind of minimal as you can, so you could feel like it feels like you're on a board. It's kind of like almost like a kind of a cross between a carousel and a skating rink.
Okay, I like it. That's an interesting take on a flat ride.
Like a few people could get on a couple boards and then go around and just kind of explore the space.
Yeah.
Like. And again, you'd have hoverboards like you'd have like.
Yeah, I'm picturing maybe kind of like a bumper cars kind of setup.
Well, that's the thing too, but I want to try and get people standing upright for it. But
No. I know the standing up, but I'm just saying as far as how you move around the room and like I don't know. Am I making sense with that? Like,
no, yeah, man.
You're just kind of like you're in control of the vehicle. You're just kind of like moving in a confined space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right, cool.
All right, let's see. So those are the three attractions, and beyond that, you have Lou's Cafe. So you're gonna love this.
Now this is a nostalgia cafe, I hope, right?
Well, I'm getting there. Yes.
Okay.
So you have essentially you have the 50s diner from the first Back to the Future, which is Lou's Cafe, which,
Okay.
has like, you have like Mayor Goldie Wilson posters on the inside.
Uh-huh.
And you have stuff like, it serves chocolate milk, serves Pepsi. It's got, you got cereal. You got, kind of like the foods that were in Back to the Future, as well as just kind of generic kind of diner foods. Now, here's where things get good. So it would theme differently to the seasons. So you have Lou's Diner, which is the 50s diner. You
Uh-huh.
have Cafe 80s for the
Nice,
which
of course, of
retroactively would be
course.
very 80s centric, but also very 2015
Cafe
futurized.
80s, you have to have a Gunsmoke arcade cabinet, specifically because that
Mm-hmm.
Gunsmoke arcade cabinet was invented directly for the movie. There's no actual Gunsmoke arcade cabinet.
Uh-huh.
So
Yep.
you have to recreate that.
That you would. And
You have to have like the Crystal Pepsis. That has to be
mhm.
like a specialty item.
I'm aware I have like it would sell the collectible Pepsi bottles from Back to the Future
Uh-huh.
too.
And then as a joke dragon, there should be like an Elijah Woods as a kid walk around character.
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, if anything, I think there'd be a photo on the wall.
Elijah, it's you.
In all seriousness, though, there might be like a photo on the wall of Elijah Wood.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, as the kid, just like then now. And also, the ambitious one would be around certain seasons, probably close to the holiday season. You'd have the saloon.
Nice, nice.
You have like wake up juice and
So
whiskey
what
for
I
the
like about
adults.
this idea is it's essentially kind of like a more permanent version of those highly themed like pop-up restaurants that you see around LA and places
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, the goal of the land in total is to kind of celebrate all decades that we saw in Back to the Future in some way, shape, or form. One with the attractions, as well as just kind of with kind of the the whole vibe with all the attractions, whether it be dining, rides, or vice versa.
Sure.
So again, like the main one, again, the diner, like the 50s diner, would be like the simplest and kind of main option. But again, Cafe 80s would be the next graduation. The only one would be like the most aesthetically kind of redesigned. That would be like the big specialty, like towards the end of the year sort of thing, would have to be the Saloon.
All right.
Okay,
Nice.
now the shop. I'm really proud of the shop here.
Ooh, okay, okay.
Okay, so the antique shop called Blast from the Past, which is from Back to the Future 2.
It's
So
literally nothing but sports almanacs.
Don't get ahead of me.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. What it is, it's literally the storefront from that antique shop from Back to the Future 2, and it has like the same window display. It does sell the sports almanac. You have stuff like some of the actual Back to the Future books, like the Back to the Future visual guide of the history of the movie, some like books on the DeLorean with the schematics and everything. You have the big thing I've always wanted from any Back to the Future gift shop, like toy cars of the 8-seater DeLorean.
Yeah, why don't they make those? I know.
It irritated me so much. And here's how you know.
No, I feel you on that one, man. I feel you on that one.
Like the collectible. If I could have any one item at theme park related ever, it would be that model from the pre-show in Back to the Future the Ride, where Doc Brown's holding that giant DeLorean.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the ride vehicle for me.
Oh man,
that's the thing, because I have DeLoreans that are close to that size.
You know what would be
already.
such a slap in the face is if they released a Simpsons ride equivalent of that.
Oh, I'd be so mad.
Could you imagine?
I just want to open that thing up and see the 8 seats inside. That's what I want in life. I just want to see that 8-seater DeLorean. Just for all the joy that ride brought me, but also just the novelty of like this variation on the DeLorean.
Oh man, yeah.
So that's the big item for me, like a die cast or like a scaled model thing.
Totally,
of the 8-seater DeLorean. You'd have some Jaws merch as well as Jaws 19 merch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You'd have all of Marty McFly's wardrobe for sales, and people could buy the Life Preserver vest or the futurized version of it.
What about the Western gear?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not? There's like a little Western wear corner of the shop.
Now the big thing you'd have, the self-lacing Nikes.
Oh God. Oh yeah. Oh man.
Now, at the very least, if because I know they actually did sell these things, but they sold them for ridiculously high prices for charity. What I'd recommend, bare minimum, would be basically a self-lacing Nike that is basically streamlined down, where basically instead of like lacing the shoes, you pull on 2 strings on the side, or like you Velcro them, so it's like just basically it looks exactly like the self-lacing shoe.
Right.
That's the simplest scaled down version of that.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Just a stand-up kind of refrigerator full of glass Crystal Pepsis.
Well, again, Tiki, they're going to be selling the Pepsis both in the diner and in the gift shop. You can buy the collectible Pepsis.
Okay, yeah, I just want to emphasize that Crystal Pepsi should literally be like this land's blue milk.
Do you remember? You keep throwing out the Crystal Pepsi now? Do you mean the Pepsi that they were selling in the movie was in fact Crystal Pepsi?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think you're right on that, but okay.
Or maybe at the very least, I'm pretty sure Marty asks for a Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think he asked for that in the first movie, I think.
Okay, well, you know what? Still, I don't care. Crystal Pepsi is synonymous with the 80s,
both
right?
Pepsi will be served. I'm not going to make it the blue milk. It will be served. But here's what I am going to do, because they actually did this for a while in 2015 as a promotional thing. They sold it in the really ridiculous kind of Back to the Future 2 glass bottle thing. So
yeah, I don't remember that, but go ahead. That sounds delightful.
So they'll sell it like that. That's how all the Pepsis will come in the park.
Fair enough.
Anyway, as much as believe me, folks, I'm a Coca-Cola man, but on principle, no.
Oh, I am too. I absolutely am too. No question.
But again, as much as I love Coke, on principle, no Coke will be sold in that section. It's all Pepsi.
And Coke will just have to make their peace with that.
That they will. Also, in a perfect world, the diner, I don't know if the diner...
Sorry, Coke, did you make an iconic clear cola in the 80s? No, you just had new Coke. Yeah. All right, anyways.
No, either...
oh, God, no, hold on. What if we did sell new Coke?
Nah,
really?
It's got to be Pepsi.
Coke and Pepsi can't coexist? They both have iconic weird gimmick drinks in the 80s.
If they meet each other, it'll be a paradox that could destroy the very fabric of time and space
All
as
right,
we know
totally fair. That's totally fair. God. I'm honestly more curious about new Coke than I am about Crystal Pepsi, if I'm being totally honest.
But isn't the Crystal Pepsi, like, clear?
Yes.
Well, Crystal Pepsi wins in that case, Tiki. That's the anomaly.
No, but Crystal Pepsi, just from what I've heard, it literally just tastes exactly like regular Pepsi. Except
yes,
Crystal.
But that's irrelevant, Tiki. It's all about how do they make it clear.
No, but I'm saying, like, as far as actually tasting it, though, I'm curious what new Coke actually tasted like.
It's just going to have a label that says new on it.
I'm saying if they went with the original recipe that they used for new Coke back in the day.
All right, anyways. My point is I don't know if they could legally serve this in the diner or not, but it'd be kind of cool if they could do like the dehydrating as like when they do the revamp for Cafe 80s, if they did like the hydrated Pizza Hut pizza.
Oh man, yeah.
That'd be cool. Or better yet, they serve pizza bagels, so you tear them open and there's the little pizza bagel.
Ah, there you go.
Okay, let's see. So also against Marty's wardrobe, which includes again the I mentioned the self-lacing Nikes. You have like the hat and the size adjusting jacket. You have here's a specialty item: Back to the Future clocks.
Nice.
Also, Back to the Future, the animated series, and collections of the films. Basically, the film collection that has everything in it, which they have released. So they can throw a lot of those out. And just lastly, just in general, just kind of dressing the place up, because it is pretty much, it's the town square, which includes a couple cars. You'd have a few 50s cars. Obviously, I already mentioned the DeLorean and the train displays, but you'd also have the Toyota.
Nice.
Oh, and a Texaco. You'd have a Texaco gas station.
All right. Cool. Okay, so yeah, I think this was honestly, it was dumb luck that you showed up like right as I was finishing up my my side of things. But I think dumb luck won the day, Dragon, and ultimately I think this was a pretty successful podcast, in spite of you not being there for my Bluth pitch. So yeah, I'm very happy with this one. Big thanks to ThemeParkPriest once again for suggesting this. We've got our 5 topics lined up for this week's poll, folks. But of course, we will always be taking suggestions for future polls. If you want to comment on this video, comment on a poll that's going on right now on the channel, comment on the thread on the WDW Magic Imagineering forums. You know, I take requests from all sides, and I very much want this to be an interactive show in that regard. So with that being said, the blue skies mean our work is done, but you better bedded down the hatches because there's a storm coming. That'll be a bigger and better ride of tomorrow than ever before. Remember, if you can dream it, you can do it. Yes, you can. You can.
Great, Scott.
And we also have Chomper.